Okay, so Alexis, this case, it's just one of those like gnawing, absolutely chilling cold cases that, I mean, almost 2 decades later, people are still talking about it. Maura Murray, right? It's just wild.
Oh, absolutely, Tyler. And it's so frustrating because you'd think with, everything, we'd have more answers, but it just feels like more questions. A 21-year-old college student just gone. It's really really unsettling.
Totally. And it's not like she just vanished into thin air without a trace. There's a car crash, there's a snowy New Hampshire road, and then poof, her phone, her wallet, keys, all left behind. No footprints, no struggle. It's just bizarre, eh? Like, what happened?
That's what gets me, the total lack of footprints, especially in fresh snow. That just feels so impossible. So, what was going on in her life leading up to this whole incident? I'm curious about the background stuff.
Right, right. So Maura, she was a junior nursing student at UMass Amherst. She'd actually been at West Point before that, which is interesting. But in the days before she vanished, things were a little off, a bit stressful. On February 5th, she apparently had this huge emotional breakdown at her campus security job after getting a phone call. And then, the very next day, she was in a minor car accident, actually with her dad's new Toyota Corolla after she'd been drinking, caused significant damage to it. So already there's a pattern of, some turmoil.
Wow. Okay. So, clearly there were some red flags, a lot of stress happening there. And then what happens after that car crash? Does she just go back to normal or is this like a buildup to her disappearance?
No, no, it definitely builds. So on Monday, February 9th, 2004, this is the day she disappears. She sends these emails to her professors and her work supervisor, and she's actually falsely claiming a death in her family, saying she needs to be out of town for a week. So a lie right off the bat. That afternoon, she withdraws $280, like almost all the money she had, from an ATM. And then she goes and buys a bunch of alcohol. Kahlua, vodka, Bailey's, Smirnoff Ice. It's quite a haul.
Oh, that's a lot of alcohol. So she's not just getting a bottle of wine. She's really stocking up. And the fake death email, that's so deliberate. She's trying to cover her tracks for being gone. It's very strange behavior.
Right, very deliberate. And before she even leaves campus, she's making calls. She's inquiring about renting a condo in Bartlett, New Hampshire, which is a place her family had actually vacationed before. And then also calls an information line for lodging in Stowe, Vermont. So she's clearly planning a trip, but not telling anyone. Around 3:30 p.m., she leaves UMass Amherst in her black 1996 Saturn sedan, destination, totally unknown at that point. Her last recorded phone activity is a short call to her voicemail, 4 minutes, at 4:37 p.m. And then, silence. That's it. So just a few hours later, around 7:27 p.m. on that same day, February 9th, a local resident actually reports a car accident on a really sharp corner of Route 112 near Woodsville, New Hampshire. It's Maura's black Saturn, and it's found against a snowbank, airbags deployed, windshield cracked. Pretty significant crash, sounds like.
Oh, so she definitely crashed then. I was wondering if maybe the car was found, intact, but no. Airbags deployed, cracked windshield. Did anyone, see her? Was she at the scene still?
Yeah, actually, a passing school bus driver, a guy named Butch Atwood, he stops and he speaks with a young woman he believes is Maura. And he offers to call the police for her, but she actually declines, saying she'd already contacted AAA, which, later turned out to be not true. But the thing is, when law enforcement arrived, only 15 minutes later, around 7:46 p.m., The driver, Maura, she'd vanished, totally gone.
Wow, that's just wild. So she was there, she spoke to someone, and then she just disappeared before the police arrived? And she told him she called AAA, but that was a lie, you said?
Yeah, exactly. A total fabrication. And inside her abandoned car, the police found her AAA card, gloves, CDs, makeup, a box of Franzia wine, textbooks, some packed clothes, so like essentials. But get this, a rag was discovered stuffed in the vehicle's tailpipe. And her father had reportedly advised her to use that technique to prevent a ticket for like excessive exhaust smoke from the damaged car. So it's like she knew what she was doing. But despite fresh snow, no footprints leading away from the car. Nothing, just her things and the car.
Okay, so the rag in the tailpipe, that's a very specific detail. It sounds like she was, like, trying to avoid a problem. But then to just disappear without a trace? The police, what did they initially think happened? Because it sounds like it could be a lot of things.
Right. Initially, police actually treated Maura's case as a missing person, potentially intending to disappear voluntarily. That's what they thought. Because of her unexplained travel preparations, the emails, the money, the calls, and the lack of obvious foul play at the scene, they were like, maybe she just left on her own. But that perspective has really shifted over the years.
Oh, really? So they don't think that anymore? I mean, I could see why they might think that at first, given the secretive nature of her trip. But what changed their minds?
Yeah, big time. In 2009, the case was actually transferred to New Hampshire's Cold Case Division, and it's now handled as an active, suspicious missing persons case. So a complete turnaround there. The New Hampshire Attorney General's office, along with the FBI, they're still working on it, like actively. The investigation saw renewed attention in 2017 when a docuseries actually led to the official reopening of the case by the New Hampshire Police Department. It's wild how media attention can do that,
It really is. And I'm glad it got reopened. Because active, suspicious missing person just sounds so much more fitting. Was there anything significant that came out of the renewed investigation? Like any new evidence at all?
Oh, absolutely. During that docuseries, there was forensic testing of wood chips from a nearby property, and they actually indicated the presence of human blood from 2 different individuals, which is like a massive development, right? Despite extensive searches of the vast wooded areas around the crash site, no trace of Maura has ever been found, though. No credible sightings since that night. But then, get this, in March 2025, so like fairly recently, it was revealed that fingerprints found in Maura's car were matched to a former West Point cadet, Stephen Baldwin. That's a huge lead, So with all this, conflicting information, this case has, it's generated so many theories. Like, what do you think is the most common one people lean towards?
Oh, I mean, I always feel like the foul play one is like the most heartbreaking, but it also feels very plausible, Like if she just disappeared from a crash site, especially if she was like disoriented or something, what does her family believe happened?
Her family, they're absolutely convinced it was foul play. They strongly believe she met with foul play, suggesting she may have accepted a ride from someone who subsequently harmed her. Her brother, Fred, he actually expressed that Maura was trusting and naive, which, could have led her to get into a car with the wrong person. It's a really heartbreaking thought. But then another big theory is exposure in the woods. Like she wandered into the wilderness, possibly disoriented or intoxicated, and succumbed to the harsh winter elements. But then extensive searches, even with cadaver dogs, haven't found a thing. And skeptics, they question why her remains haven't been discovered yet, after all this time.
That's true.
The lack of remains for the exposure theory is a pretty big hole in it, I think. But what about, like, a planned disappearance? Because she did, like, lie about a family death and withdraw all that money. That definitely points to her wanting to get away, doesn't it?
It totally does. Some people speculate that Maura, facing personal issues like a previous DUI, academic trouble, emotional strain, she might have staged her disappearance to start a new life. And her actions, like you said, fabricating a family death, withdrawing most of her money, they absolutely fuel this idea. But the counterarguments are strong. She left behind essential personal items like her phone and wallet, and there's been no subsequent contact with her family or any use of her credit cards. So it doesn't really add up perfectly, does it? Then there's another possibility, like she was hit by another vehicle after leaving the scene, and the driver panicked, hiding her body. But there's no evidence to support that one right now, really.
So, like, with all these theories and the lack of clear answers, it just seems so impossible for the family, you know? Like, what are they doing now? Are they still searching and pushing for answers?
Oh, absolutely. The family is they're relentless. They remain completely committed to finding answers and actively work to keep her case in the public eye. In February 2024, on the 20th anniversary of her disappearance, her sister Julie Murray actually launched a podcast titled The Untold Story of Maura Murray, or Media Pressure. It's really her way of trying to share previously unknown details, correct misinformation, and give a more personal narrative of who Maura was. Julie, she expresses the family's overwhelming consensus that foul play was involved, so they're pretty firm on that one.
Oh, that's really powerful. For her sister to start a podcast. It's so important for families to keep these cases alive. And have investigators released anything new to help with the search recently? Anything to give people an idea of what she might look like now?
Yeah, actually, to further aid the search, cold case investigators released a new age progression photograph of what Maura Murray might look like today. So they're really trying to keep it current, get fresh eyes on it. And her father, Fred, he's conducted countless independent searches over the years. I mean, he's absolutely dedicated. He often expresses a lot of frustration with how the initial investigation was handled, which you can definitely understand, right? It's such a tough situation for them, still, after all this time, to not have any definitive closure. It's truly one of those cases that, just sticks with you. So much mystery, so many questions, and just no answers.